we're doing a Battle of Bannockburn victory banquet. Roast beef, circling pig, swords, chainmail, silk maidens. We even had a horse lined up. Next thing, the clients changed their mind. So what that we've run ourselves ragged on this Bannockburn thing, and suddenly we've only got a day to create the Garden of Eden with the serpent as the goodie, talking even to lapping up this river of booze or some bollocks, and the devil as a Mick Jagger lookalike. It's a whiskey advert. And I spilled my tea on Adam's fig leaf and had to sew up another double quick because the blow dryer was too slow, which got me a bollocking from the boss. Still, we pulled it out the bag. I went right in at Freya, one of the models. Silver and rouge, silk tulle, gull feather wings. When I'd done, she made a gorgeous fallen angel. The hush when she walked on set. No joke, her agent cried. Gavin, the camera, usually so seen it all, was suddenly wired, and not a word to me from any of them. Best I'd had all day was nice dress from little gay Niall in reception. But it is brilliant when a shoot finishes and everyone's happy. Just about the closest you can get to being in love without being in love. Pub!
Ferdinand, a.k.a. Ferdy. Father-in-law of Ida, the local hairdresser. Brill cream, fitted wool jumpers, suit trousers, slip-ons, signet ring, a true cockney. As at home in our tiny Highland village as he had been on the streets of Bow. Rain or shine, he'd saunter to the pub, and ease at odds with his flesh and bone appearance, which was hollowed, careworn. He'd always say hello, never breaking step. To my 9-year-old eyes, he was an elderly man who looked young, but in fact, the opposite was true. Word was, he'd been aboard the Royal Oak when it was torpedoed and scap afloat at the beginning of World War II, with a loss of 835 men and boys. What an honour and surprise that he bequeathed me his telescope. Leather-bound brass is my most treasured possession.
Pub. Oh, I was first in and first out.
As a child, I was beset on all sides by calamity. Somehow Ferdy got exactly the measure of my life in our fleeting greetings. I can safely say that his telescope wrought a greater change in me than puberty. Of the tools employed in the facilitation of man's quest for mastery over his environment, the telescope was every bit as important as the gun. From the moment Galileo's observation of Jupiter's moons and the phases of Venus put paid to the fallacy of a geocentric universe, everything changed forever. This new tool, this divine eye, shrunk the cosmos. Whole star systems studied, named, owned, and whole countries, nations, peoples, and people.
Home, wine, music, YouTube, Bambi. Because if I could be any animal, I'd be a deer. But if I could be anything at all, I'd probably be a dragon so I could fly, but I could also run fast. But if I met a giant spider, would it be able to run faster than me because it's got 8 legs, or would it just be the wrong shape? Like those Olympic cyclists you see with the aerodynamic helmets that make them look like aliens, and I think they even shave off body hair, which is wild to get your head around, like how, with global warming, almost everything, your phone, kids' toys, a dentist drill, everything is a radiator. I suppose people are radiators. And anyway, even if a giant spider could run faster than a dragon, it can't fly.
Early on, I used my telescope for astronomical purposes. Once I moved to the city, light pollution made that impossible. On a whim, one night, sitting in the shadows of my flat, I turned the scope on tenements across the road. Oh, the things people do in the privacy of their own homes, even with the curtains open. Over time, in those relatively few households, I saw every kind of cruelty and compassion played out. My logbooks piled up, chock full. I wrote a warning letter to a bully, revealed a cheating wife, sent flowers to a bereaved daughter, money to the victim of a theft. I saw breakups, group sex, sleepwalking. I saw a dog die and revive. I saw a ghost. And I saw you. melancholic, solitary. Me? Now? Sad, old, lonely, and somewhat shaken at how this 16th anniversary of that night of nights, the world is opening up like a fan.
Top treat is to be home during a storm. I'll run a bath, open the windows, elements absolutely battering my face while the rest of me's warm underwater. Unbeatable. Yet you sit there, erased by hail, still wanting it to be more. That night, when the rain started, after the day I'd had, well, the Book of Answers did say, be spontaneous.
Any framed quote is both a signpost and a sign of weakness. You had one on your kitchen wall. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. Charles R. Swindoll. One on your fridge. Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. Will Rogers. And one in your bedroom. What lies behind you and what lies in front of you pales in comparison to what lies inside you. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Having this user manual on full display, you put yourself at the mercy of anyone walking into your flat. Add to this the self-help books, endless red wines, the horoscope, X Factor and cactus plant websites, YouTube searches for cross-species rescue and bonding, a dog saving a drowning fawn, a cat suckling abandoned puppies, etc., etc. What emerged over those weeks, despite your clearly full calendar, was a picture of quite the most extraordinary solitude and sadness. By the manner in which someone habitually enters their own home, one can discern the nature of that person's relationship with the universe. You only ever floated into your flat as a blue bottle with the jaws of a Venus flytrap. Armed with the Book of Answers, some trashy interactive oracle, think of a question, thumb the pages, stop whenever feels right, open it up and there's your answer, I contrived an encounter in the Fig Leaf Cafe. Remember? I'm sorry, but I think you dropped this. How your eyes lit. And our chat. Everything you said confirmed everything I'd seen. Then to witness you over the following weeks consulting that book 10, 15, 20 times a night.
So there's me, 3 a.m, on the street in the rain, loud dress, no shoes, prancing about, and I slipped, twisted my ankle. Agony! Couldn't get up, no one around, and it was pounding down, every drop a tooth. Eaten by rain. What a way to go!
You'd come home all dressed up after another miserable night. Blind drunk. You made straight for the red wine and YouTube. What was that film of the goose feeding breadcrumbs to a pool full of carp? You were crying, talking to yourself, absent-mindedly pulling at your hair. Suddenly, you were up, out, running barefoot in biblical rainfall, finally sliding on those treacherous paving stones.
Hand under my arms, I was flying. It was the guy from the fig tree.
I was out there like a shot. No coat, no umbrella. Your ankle was already turning blue.
He went on about A&E, but no way was I going, so he carried me up to the flat, and when he put a pack of frozen peas on my ankle, made coffee and said, I'm afraid to let you go to sleep in that state, I said, just stay here and keep an eye on me. He helped me to my bedroom. I halfway undressed and got under the sheets. He took off his shoes and did the same. Twice my age, but I don't know, he looked like Paul Newman or something. I said, bit unfair, no? And he goes, meaning? And I was like, me, pissed down to my knickers and a bra. He took off his trousers, keeping half a bed of space between us. The rain had stopped. It was so quiet. That, tonight, I said, I don't know how to repay you. And he's like, I don't know how to repay you. Straight up, I said, "I'm looking for someone to eat me. Honestly, my arms, my legs, my face." That took him a while. Then he said,
Who? Surely who is important?
I hadn't thought. I'd like a lover to do it.
Me? Say no more.
That's not a no.
It's okay.
I don't know, is all I'm trying
We
to...
must find you a lover who not only possesses good teeth and a strong constitution, but one who can accept that to lose you is to be with you.
We?
You clearly need help.
Help me. I fell asleep. When I woke, he was gone, but the silly sausage had tidied the whole flat and even gone out and got flowers and a card which said, "I shall be your guide and lead you out through an eternal place." And I just died laughing.
After our conversation, I couldn't sleep. So I spring cleaned, binning unsuitable clothes, chilled leftovers, a six-pack of beer. I straightened shelves, rearranging books by subject records alphabetically. Placement of the lazy chair in your living room had always annoyed me, so I moved it. But then I had to move the sofa, and so I had to move the shelves and the TV and so on until the whole place was rearranged with twice the space and light. And you, probably due to the river of wine you'd guzzled, slept through. At mid-morning, I nipped out, bought flowers and had your keys copied. When I finally left around lunchtime, you were snoring away. The next day, no hello. You just laughed out loud. That look of delight as great a gift as Ferdy's telescope.
2 days and my ankle was right as rain. The guy kept coming round. Like, he'd bring stuff, chocolate, nuts, biscuits, then go on about how crap the modern diet is. Or if someone working class came on TV, he'd say how inequality was a handy kind of population control. And when I asked him stuff like, well, if he had to choose who he'd rather be, Mummy Bear from Goldilocks or Shrek, he'd totally ignore me. And yet, when I went into wanting to be eaten, he was so lovely.
Invited into your dream of being eaten, I was sandbagged by a terrific desire heightened by our agreeing not to give each other our names. Anonymity opened all doors. The things we said. Already then, 10 years past retirement, I'd go home late nights as tumescent as a teenager.
I can't even begin to describe how mad a turn-on the no-names thing was. He was the man, I was the woman. End of.
I'd heard about the dark web, and knew that if we were to find someone who'd commit to our cannibal fantasy, we'd do so there. I read up. Preparation was Masonic. I had to disable my usual browsers, pay for a self-deleting virtual private network. I downloaded Tor to anonymize our online activity, set up an encrypted email account with an untraceable alias. Our virtual adventure raised the real-life charge between us to unprecedented levels. Of course I lost myself. The territory we created, moral, psychological, metaphysical, psychical, was unmappable and unique. On fire, one night, I snuck back into your flat, knelt by your bedside, and watched you sleep.
The dark web. What a ride. After days of frisky frolics, we found a chat site called the Inferno, which was based on what hell's supposed to be like. 9 circles for all these sins and a bunch of private rooms called bulges. The man got us into this part of the 7th circle called Wood of the Suicides. He let me choose our username. Tinkerbell, because, lighten up, everyone. Honestly, the other names down there. Fuck Me and Eat Me, Jaws, Horny Hubby with Pics of Niece. The most beautiful girls you losers have ever seen. Then someone called Scylla came in on caps lock, and everything changed.
Hey, beautiful. If you're all that, why are you in here? The most beautiful girl you losers have ever seen frowns at me and says, "Torture tourist." Silver spoon in your mouth up on terra firma, eh? "If you say so," she says. "Oh, I'm passive-aggressive. Word of advice, suit up. 5 minutes in this place will clog your hard drive with chlamydia." "You've got a big mouth," she says. "Is that why you're always shouting?" "Honey, I've got 6 big mouths. Read your Homer."
The man made us come out, change our username to Daughter of Odysseus and go back in. "Mate," I said, "I'm lost. Who's Odysseus again? And Scylla, what's that, like syphilis or something?" Bang! He gives me this 2-minute crash course in Greek myth. He told me everything to write next, starting with, "6 mouths, yet you failed to get your teeth into my dad."
Oh, Daughter of Odysseus. Touché. That's worth a PM. Bulger 9.
A private message from Scylla. Bulger 9? The man made me reply, "Only if you really bite."
Oh, I bite. And if you had the yawning cavern of emptiness inside you that I do, you'd bite too.
Sounds like self-pity. If I go to the Bulger with you, the faintest whiff of weakness and I'll walk.
Move it.
Inside the Bulger, the man made me write, "Show me what those mouths can do." And I did, but for the first time it felt like the wrong thing to say. Scylla answered, "Take off your clothes." I got pins and needles from opportunity slipping through my fingers. Off my own back I wrote, "What are you looking for?" The man gave me a look that burned into the side of my face. Scylla typed, "Take your clothes off or I'll take them off you." I wrote, "What are you really looking for?" Scylla wrote, "An end to hunger." I wrote, "Wealth redistribution?" There was this long pause. Then in small letters for the first time, Scylla wrote, That too. The man stood up. If you don't follow my exact instructions, he said, you'll never achieve your fantasy, and all that you and I have built here, this life-affirming affair, will end. I said, I'm not sure fantasy is my thing. He didn't understand. Me neither, really. Scylla again. You sound like two different people. Me. You're female? Scylla. I've been called worse. Me. Sis? Scylla. Interesting word for a six-headed monster, sis. But yeah. You? The man got so close you could hear his clenched teeth. One more word without my direction and I'm leaving. And I was like, why are your knickers in a twist? Sit! He walked out. I went after him. Too late.
Come on, daughter. Don't wimp out on me now.
It's just I'd begun to feel so alive with you. And here you were, killing me for a virtual stranger. Alarming how I'd never noticed before your lethal conflation of fantasy and reality.
Back at the laptop with the gap he'd left behind and that blinking cursor.
Could be anything. She might have gone to the toilet. She might have gone to make tea. She might have gone to be sick. I might be sick. I might puke. I might go, hey, you know what, forget it. I might throw this laptop out the window. I might just walk into oncoming traffic. You never know.
I wrote, I'm cisgender.
I thought I'd lost you.
After blurring it with my old man, that'd be lame.
You know I ruined 6 of his crew. Plucked them from the deck of their ship. Ground their bones between my teeth.
How did that feel?
What a crap 21st century question.
Spit or swallow?
The fuck do you think?
I think you hate men.
I hate anyone who upholds the status quo.
Modern life is rubbish.
It takes so much and gives so little you end up disappearing completely.
You ever eat a woman?
Not yet.
You ever wonder if eating one will fill that yawning chasm?
Oh, way too reductive. Next you'll be talking about Africa like it's a country and telling me German people have no sense of humour.
How many people have you eaten?
15 million.
15 million men.
I've been around a long time. 6 mouths to feed.
All those men, all that time. Surely some of them wanted to be eaten. No?
I've lost count of the hard-ons. Sometimes they'd come. I used to think that was simply nature's way, a dying organism's last desperate attempt to reproduce, but plenty of times they're just into it.
Were you into any of them?
Baby, I've chomped some hot guys.
Did you desire any of them?
Yeah, some. Carnally, though. I am what I am. You might hand rear a great white shark with all the tenderness in the world, but at some point it will take your head off. In the end, there's no greater turn on than chewing up a young man in his prime while he screams for his life. 6 mouths, 6 times the sensation. Tongue, teeth, palate, gums, vestibule, cheeks zing with pleasure. His tiny cock and balls burst open. Blood, sweet as wine, gushes down my throats. The roast beef of his arse. Thighs, my God. The heart a jelly lozenge. Breastbone cracking. That final sigh and he's gone. Filling you in the way a regular lover never could.
Yet you're not full. Just say, someone you were into asked you to eat them because they wanted it from you with all their heart. Would you be as willing? As turned on?
Hell yes. Even more so.
So it could be an act of love. Something to fill that yawning chasm.
I suppose.
Eat me.
Out, out,
A
out!
notification flashed on screen. Scylla has left the Bulger. What just happened?
Who was that? I'm shaking.
I was back the next night asking her why she ran away.
Because sometimes the only thing worse than not getting what you want is getting what you want.
So I got her number, called her up, and told her about my history of wishing. I grew up in the countryside. Big garden. There was one doll's tea party. I'd have been 5. Tiny Tears was there, the Lego chef, both bears and the Quarry doll. Our table was set with a check cloth, tiny china tea set, postage stamp sandwiches, fairy cake. Wolf was getting out of prison and we were his surprise party. Surprise! Because he'd walk out of jail and into a wedding. My one-armed Barbie. Veil. Makeup, hidden in the flower beds. Blue sky. No wind. I wore a dress. Red and white hoops. We were telling time by the sun. Just before it hit the unlocking hour of 3, I glanced at the one-armed Barbie. Her eyes shone with excitement and something else. Deep down, she knew Wolf would have her for supper. But between here and there you saw entire seas of her desire to be loved forever. I hadn't heart to quash that hope head on, and so I wished for nothing solid, just the full-on, happy ending of everything. At 1 minute to 3, sound sheared over the roof. It was like entire dunes of something were being sieved over treetops. I waded out into the wild beyond our lawn, and there was winter, coming towards us as a great white cloud barreling along the glen's floor. I was lying flat in a patch of sun when that god's breath wiped me and the light out. Talk about fear. 5 years old, raising eyes to a world frozen white. Each blade of grass glittered. Nothing sang or sighed out there. The sky had no rim. My breath rose as smoke. And then the cold bit. I jumped up. Steam rose from my thatched grass body print. The tea table was toppled. My doll guest piled up at the foot of the half-fallen tree. Wolf was altogether gone.
Fuck me. This is on.
I just didn't feel I could do it without the man.
When you came back to me, I was more relieved than I'd ever been. What I'd failed to understand was that the foundations of our relationship lay in a thrilling game. Having watched you during our separation, having read your diary while you were out, it was clear to me that your interest in Scylla was born not out of a death wish or series by curiosity, but out of a desire to maximize the transgressive license of our game, the ultimate aim of which was to intensify the electricity between you and me. How you embodied commitment to the enterprise is what threw me. And herein lies the irreducible difference between men and women. Men do, women are, and by being you leave us in the dust.
I went to his house and said, I want her to eat me and she wants to do it, but I can't do it without you. And he cried. I swear, he cried.
Being back in your life did nothing to stop my visits to your flat whenever you were not there. Thanks to the dark web setup, I had all your computer passwords, and in no time at all had found a hidden folder of erotic selfies, stills and films, which made me immeasurably sad because you posed in them not only as someone who felt themselves unwanted, but beyond wanting. I thought to erase them. Instead, I copied them, and I'm ashamed to say that in moments of childish pique, sent selections to random global addresses. An American CEO here, a Greek convent there. No one you'd ever meet, and always by way of our encrypted email account, so there would be no comeback. Though I confess, I did send one to your boss after you had been particularly gruff with me.
It is mad that we live in the same city, but it's not a sign, like she says. We meet in the Fig Tree, some try-too-hard coffee joint. Love at first sight is a fairy story, but goodness, when she looks up, I almost throw my arms around her.
From what she said on the phone, I expected a plank of wood, and yeah, the way she was dressed made you think of a pine table. Holy God, though. First time our eyes met across the fig, she clenched fists and bared her teeth for a second so no one but me saw, and it just knocked me on my back. We left right there, talking as we walked.
Sometimes she just rabbits. We need a contract, yap, 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 yap. I'm thinking, shut up a minute or I will eat you in the street. Which is when this kind of psychic thing she's got kicks in, because she goes quiet and I feel bad, but then she starts up again calmly, and when she does get to the point, she breaks my heart. Every time.
It's got to be you. Can you do the thing?
I've been with soldiers.
Oh.
Ages ago. Invasion of Iraq. 19 years old, I was fiery as a fighter plane. We're out, my pals and me, club under the arch. This black guy, the only one in the place, starts chatting me up. Squaddy, Scottish accent. Him and 4 pals with him are getting flown out to Basra next day. They call him Golly. You take that abuse from them. Your pals. He shrugs, says, small price to pay. Price for what? His name was Stevie. We dance. They're okay. Except they call him Golly and tell him to smile in the dark so they can see him, blah, 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 and he takes it.
Later, just me and them horse along the street. Fried Mars bars, chips, bottles of beer and wine. I know this place, says blondest of the white ones, so we go. This weird, 1 chair in the kitchen, unfurnished flat in the new town. We're no sooner in the door than Stevie reaches into my front pocket. Another boy puts a hand on my stomach. 3rd twirls my hair. 4th holds my throat and nibbles at my ear. Blondie locks the door, humming the theme from the A-Team. The boy nibbling my ear spits laughter in there. Teeth on my neck. Arms around my waist. Shoulder freckles. My tracksuit bottoms sail towards the ceiling. I suck on fingers slipped into my mouth. Blondie comes running. I hold him and all 5 of them hold me. Sometimes my feet leave the ground. I give up the kisses they won. You couldn't not, they were going to the front. But no single one of them is enough. As 5, they've got weight and muscle, but they kiss like children. None of them come. Maybe they have sisters, daughters. Either way, you know they won't last 5 minutes on a battlefield. We sleep on the floor. I get up for water. Stevie corners me in the kitchen. He sits in the 1 chair. The others are fast asleep. I want to be with you, he says. You couldn't. Black watch, says he. No such word. But he has none of a man's mass, and God knows sometimes I need held down.
Try me, he says. I French kiss him. At first, he tries to kiss me back, but he's in the chair half-cart, and I've been partying since I was 16. He fights free, gasping.
I kiss him again. I chew on him. He has to pull my hair with both hands and full weight to end it. His lip rips between my teeth. Nothing will ever be the same again.
Out of breath, he looks ancient, blood pishing down his front, blood in my mouth. With this sudden, maddening need to eat, I try to kiss him again. He almost jumps up, but I've a grip on his collar and I shake until his face is a blur, until tears and spit rain out his head and he whines like a broken squeeze box. Hoarse now, haggard, he rights himself. I hit him so hard the chair tilts on two legs. Up he gets, feet stamping, halfway, laughing, roaming the rooms, punching holes in the walls, and I'm out of there, flaming with a crazy rage, more turned on than I've ever been in my life. When it comes to relationships, I admit it, I'm a taker, and what I take will ruin you.
And set you free.
You've got to burn to shine, right?
Too right. So right. I want it to be you. Our new names, Predator and Prey. When I mentioned the man would be involved, Predator wasn't sure, but she came up to the flat all the same.
I'm usually calm. I seek calm, but this guy winds me up. He won't get off his backside or even turn around to say hello, and Prey says nothing. I'm like, what is this? Still nothing. Prey introduces him as the man and me as the predator. Then he gets up. Total entitlement. Never been told no. Patronising. Used to being listened to or to... He's a weirdo. Odd little man. She feels sorry for him. She must do. She must feel sorry for him. This weird, slimy guy can't even look me in the eye. Look me in the eye, you little turd. When Prey's out the room, he says...
The chat in the wood of suicides that got you in here, that was me.
I reply with a smile. No, I did that.
She's not gay.
The hell's that got to do with anything?
Stop swearing.
How's that swearing?
The mark of a civilised person is the ability to wield language without use of expletives.
I see what you're doing.
Oh?
Prick. That's swearing.
You demean yourself.
I show up.
We all seem to want the same thing, pretty much.
I almost want to go through with it just to get Prey away from him.
We worked out the contract with all these mad clauses.
Clause 1. If I'm going to eat you, you have to watch what you eat. So no chocolate, crisps, fizzy drinks, no smoking, no drinking.
No drugs.
Who asked you? You agreed to stay off the junk food, so your system is pristine.
You agreed to use only organic skin products.
Okay. I'll want you to have had a good colonic irrigation. I'm not jostling for space with a fish supper.
Well, there'll be no fish suppers inside me if all I'm allowed is kale and baba ganoush. You agreed to remove all your body hair.
Like my hair? My eyebrows?
Well, you can do it on the day, but yeah, all of it.
Okay. You'll dominate. I'll submit.
There'll be a hunt, a catch, and a kill.
How will I be killed?
TBC, but you'll shout, I'd say.
You agreed to make a candle out of my body fat and light it on my birthday.
It's a meal, not Satan worship.
The man will sort out tools for cutting me up. Plastic sheets for the blood, he'll take care of bones and offals. I'm to be eaten entirely, remain stored in the freezer till I'm finished. 'Cause my spirit animal is a deer, I found an Elizabethan recipe for roast venison, and that's how I want done. You're looking at bacon, butter, breadcrumbs, claret, juniper berries, garlic, rosemary, and cinnamon.
How long's that going to take?
Sides, seasonal, roast vegetables, roast potatoes, and Yorkshire pudding. No chips. Likewise, asparagus, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts are out. Drinks, red wine and water only.
And no swearing.
I slit my thumb open and we signed in blood, which was crap actually, because it just looked like modern art. The man left and Predator hung out.
Finally, she's in my arms. Can we kiss? She says we have to start practicing our roles. A lion wouldn't kiss an antelope.
Actually, I've seen a lion kind of kiss an antelope on YouTube.
I just want to thank her. Be predator, she says. So I force her to kiss me and she submits, and I leave completely elated, tremendously sad, and somehow still fiery at the guy.
Predator calls me on her way home. "You're crying," she said. "I'm happy. You've arrived. Another season roaring down the glen."
And I'm like, are we really doing this? Somehow, I'm up for trying to be with you for the rest of my life. It feels like I've just found you only to lose you again.
Modern life isn't rubbish, it's just missing stuff. All you need to do to complete it, to complete you, is love me enough.
I followed Predator home. Watched her for 2 weeks, then made entry when she was on a break. What a life! Borderline OCD, a chicken and broccoli eating software engineer. I tried on all her underwear, put it back, bar one lone pair of knickers which I kept on. I pour a jar of pickle into a corner behind some shelves, then urinated on the mush, twice. I flushed one of 2 matching earrings down the toilet, then slipped out again, as though I'd never been there.
Bone off, I take a few days away to clear my head. I see deer bounding through a cornfield. Even in another country, there's no getting away from her. So I practice hunting, chasing deer through the corn.
The man came round every day Predator was away. He was clingy, which I never expected in a million years. More talkative than ever.
As a teenager, my sister, Olivia, suffered from undiagnosed depression. One Thursday lunchtime, she called from Aberdeen University. My mother answered the phone, while my father and I, home from school, ate alone. "She's in one of her moods," said my mother when she finally came into the kitchen. "I'm going up there." She arranged to take the following day off work, my father wondering aloud to himself why she couldn't wait until Sunday, as we'd all be able to go. My mother ignored him. At next morning's breakfast, they bickered about something unrelated. As she put on her raincoat, she said, "Back by 6, you will have to manage dinner on your own. This for the first time since they'd married." And she was gone. How eerie to see my father, normally so chatty, so wry, so sly, staring at the closed door.
And? Nothing. He turned round and left.
Home again, my place stinks. Smells like something's died in the pipes. And weirdly, I've lost one of my mum's earrings. Left to me by her and to her by her auntie. I had them on the first time I met Prey. I burst into tears.
What's wrong with me?
I call Prey and tell her. All the time I'm crying, she's quiet. When I have a grip on myself a couple of minutes later, I say, "Are you still there?" "I'm still here," she says. The tone, the timing, the intent. She never gives you any less than everything she's got. Yeah, I love her enough.
Today's the eve of the meal, and my place looks like IKEA. Rolls of plastic, mini vats, tools, waterproof silverware, stashes of food and wine. Honestly, the props are just too brutal. Probably nerves, but folk at work seemed weird yesterday, especially my boss. It was almost like they knew.
I apologised to Predator the moment she arrived.
We thrashed out the plan.
2:30, you'll be in the Leopard pub having a drink at the bar.
In one of my own handmade outfits.
I'll come in, black coat, jeans, boots, no makeup, and sit across the bar from you. I'm to stare, brazenly.
And I'll be like, ooh, she gives me the creeps. I'll drink up and start to leave.
At which point I'll sweep round the bar and say, I find it hard to believe that one so lovely should be here alone. Allow me to buy you another drink.
I'll decline, but I'll be as fascinated as I am afraid. 2 ginger beers.
Me. Where do you live, my lovely?
Not far, and begging your pardon, I have to be home very soon.
Very well, my dear, I'll escort you.
I shouldn't like to impose.
Take me to your home or I'll break every bone in your body, starting with your eyebrows. How the hell do you break someone's eyebrows? Prey giggles. It's contagious. Surely if we're laughing, it'll spoil things.
It'll remind us we're in it together.
Okay. Show me where you live or I'll break every bone in your body, starting with your eyebrows.
If it pleases me, lady, may I go to the toilet before we depart?
Why, of course you may.
Off I'll go.
I'll wait at the bar.
And I'll slip out when you're not looking.
I'll realise you've gone and give chase.
I'll be in one of 3 agreed locations and may move between them.
By the time I catch you, I'll be well pissed off. We'll lock arms and I'll order you to take me to your place.
We go up.
And all hell breaks loose. What we don't know yet is how you'll die.
Of course I'm afraid. Giving up this life. What if we don't become one? What if I don't see through her eyes, or taste with her tongue, or feel the sun, sea, or sand ever again? I want to swim in her bloodstream, cartwheel around her belly. What if there's nothing at all? And the ones left behind, family, mum, their agony.
We practiced the chase around the flat. The man's face is a picture.
The look in Predator's eyes as we went through the chase was totally scary. To be inside her. Totally. It's the getting there I'm a bit iffy about. After the chase, we practiced wrestling. She's way stronger than me. CrossFit, I'm told. And to be honest, it pisses me off a bit, but I just have to learn to submit. We bashed heads and my nose exploded. For sure, we'll need a safe word in case one of us bottles it.
I suggest Odysseus. Little Hitler walks out. His party piece, apparently.
We need him, I said. I need him.
We don't. You don't.
I caught him at the closed door. A safe word, he said. A contract signed in blood. Woman, you really are going all the way.
I thought our relationship meant more to you. It was so clear that centuries of gender oppression had lumbered you with fatally low self-esteem. To want to be eaten, really eaten, is inhuman, unnatural. What if you changed your mind at the last minute but couldn't signal?
Fair point, that last one. Then I went, whatever I was before you came along, I'm just bigger now. More.
Then I've been used and have outlived my usefulness.
Once upon a time, there was an apple hanging from a tree in a royal orchard. She was a friendly sort of fruit, full of optimism, but with maggots, worms, and caterpillars boring into her as she slept, birds pecking at her curves, beetles, flies, and rodents gnawing at her soft flesh. Goodness, even the king and queen remarking on her battered appearance. She began to disappear completely. Despite these relentless attacks, the apple kept turning her best side to the world in the hope that someone special would notice her. One day, while the king and queen were throwing a feast for the poor, the youngest daughter of a blacksmith spotted the apple and was filled with longing. "Please, your majesty," she said, "may I eat this apple? It's the juiciest looking thing I've ever seen." "Of course," said the king, though secretly he was thinking, what the actual fuck? And with that, the girl ate the apple. And they both lived happily ever after. The apple inside the girl, and the girl with the apple inside her.
What are you talking about?
Mate, whatever happens in this so-called life, I'm dinner. At least now I get to be served up exactly how I want and finished by someone who wants me. Let me be a gift.
You're insane.
I'll never be more ripe than I am now.
On the day my mother went to see my sister in Aberdeen, I took lunch at school. My father and I muddled through the making of dinner. The phone rang while we were eating. I hovered in the hallway, mother's voice audible on the end of the line. My father wilted on the spot. Suddenly, all boy. He hung up. Your mother's staying in Aberdeen overnight. It was there, in the hallway shadows, that I finally realized that all relationships are characterized by staggering savagery. My father, shy of 50 and already finished by nothing real, by an ideal, love. There's your blood-hungry ogre. When my mother came back through the door on Sunday afternoon, I remember thinking with incandescent confusion that I had never seen her, nor anyone else, look so beautiful. Better be like her, right? And I have been. Only now, since you, us, I wonder if I shouldn't acknowledge the part of me which is more like my father.
You'd have to be 10 feet tall and made of gold with umpteen mouths full of shark's teeth before I'd say yeah to you, and even then I'd say no.
I resolved there and then to do everything in my power to end you.
Back in the flat, the three of us toasted with sparkling wine. Bring on tomorrow.
These two, Jesus. Her nose bleeding into her wine glass and him crypto God knows what. We go over the wrestling one more time. To overpower her. To be merciless. I feel infinite.
I can't sleep.
If only you'd listen to me. All I have left are those photos.